Do you ever feel trapped? Like you are supposed to live a certain way, you're supposed to act a certain way, and if you go out of line in that way people expect you to be, then you're not who you're supposed to be. You're not you. Oh, you're not supposed to act like this because we expect you to act like that. You're not supposed to stand up for yourself because we expect you to not say anything. To break free from those expectations, it's up to us individuals. Because we can't live a new life or a life that we're meant to live if we are stuck in our own heads about who we're supposed to be. Because the person we're supposed to be, if we're in a place that we're unhappy with, the person we're supposed to be as in the expectations put on us, being that person is not going to change where you want to go. It's not going to help you get to where you need to be. And I've been discovering, just as I live my life, and ask questions like, what is my purpose here? Like, what am I doing here on this planet? What am I meant to do? And when I sit with those questions and I face scenarios where I'm expected to be a certain way, or I've told myself in my head that I'm supposed to be a certain way, then I get stuck and I'm not going towards where I'm meant to be. And let me ask you, whenever you're in a scenario where you feel like you should say something, you should stand up for yourself, you should speak out, you should act differently, yet you don't, you run away from that feeling, and you do the default that you've been doing, the habits you've been doing, what is driving that action? Let me break it down in an example. This happened last night and I realized it after the fact. So today is my last day of work. And I have tomorrow off, as tomorrow is a holiday, so even if I kept working there, I would have had tomorrow off. Today is Thursday. And my aunt, who I live with right now, asked me, "Oh, what are you doing on your day off?" And internally, next week, I will be literally in Japan, and I bought a one-way ticket to Japan. And I didn't tell most of my family. And I thought, well, I talked with my other cousin and told him about it, and he was like, out of respect, you should probably tell my aunt. And I was like, okay. And basically, the reason I didn't tell her earlier that I quit my job, I actually didn't tell her I'm going to stay in Japan. I bought a one-way ticket. That's something I'm going to do today. But the reason I hadn't told her is because I was too afraid. I was too afraid to be seen as this person that starts things and quits things. I was too afraid to be seen as, the guy who always quits stuff. Like, I've started so many little things and have quit them. And I was to be seen as somebody who can't handle an office job and all of this crap. And the motivating factor to lead me to not share this is fear. And when I think about it, I care about my family deeply and I want to be close with them. And to be close, I have to be brave and share conquer those fears and share about yourself. And you can't expect, to be accepted in return That's not something to expect, but you can sit there and know that things will be okay, even if you get rejected, which in my case, I highly doubt would happen. But in my head, there is that thought and fear, and it builds up and it festers, and the mind is a crazy place. But my point is, when you're leading your life, trying to go towards who you're meant to be, and you're facing scenarios that your old self, the person you're not meant to be, is the same person. We're meant to grow and live and change throughout life. And so whenever you're asking yourself, where am I meant to go, who am I meant to be, and you face a scenario where your old self is pulling you back and saying, don't speak up, don't take this action, we need you to stay the same, we need you to be in the area of the known, of what is known, because that is safe. And your known is a small table or a small circle, and the more unknown you explore, the greater you grow, and the greater your consciousness grows and your experience of life grows. And to get out of that small comfort zone into the unknown, we have to trust that things will work out and have faith that things will work out. And as long as we're driven not by fear, but maybe you can understand, you can discover what the alternative to fear is. As long as we're driven by that other thing, then we can grow as people. And so I told my aunt yesterday that I quit my job, and I could tell that she was a little disgruntled in her voice. She was a little sad about it. And at the end of the day, this is where I'm being called. I'm not being called into an office job. And this, like, it's kind of funny because low-key, I could see, boomers arguing like, bro, like, what is Gen Z on? Like, Gen Z is just on some woo-woo stuff. They can't handle this and that. I totally understand it. To me, the tool set I'm given allows me to take time to explore and discover. I have saved up money that I've earned, and I've been given an opportunity to stay at basically places for rent-free, aka my mom's house and my aunt's house. And so with that opportunity, I'm going to take it. I don't want to live a life the same as everybody else. And I'm going to discover more about myself and more of where I'm meant to go and meant to be, what I'm meant to do. I keep sitting with the idea that, I keep feeling that I'm meant to make videos. And so I really enjoy making videos, especially these type of ones where I can just speak my mind and speak through my heart. And it feels so cool to connect with people on the internet. And so to become who you're meant to be, it is painful because you have to conquer those fears. Carl Jung is a psychologist, famous psychologist from the early 1900s. He has a quote that says, "Where your fear is, that is your task." And that's something you sit with, and you will know what your fear is, and you're meant to do it. And there are caveats, like if you fear of like jumping off a cliff with nothing, with no safety, you will know like that's just not, you're not supposed to chase that task. So it takes some internal work and to sit with that feeling, but you will know like where your fear is, that's your task. I listened to this hour-long talk. I forget the exact name of the person, But it was this guy who had a near-death experience. He essentially got struck by lightning, and when he got struck, his body flew back, but he felt like something pushed him forward at the same time. And then when that happened, he saw his body fly and fall onto the floor, and he was dead. He was dead for a certain amount of time. And he was like, what the heck just happened? And this is a normal dude, like a doctor. Struck by lightning, out-of-body experience, he saw his dead body. He flew around like as basically a soul, and he went into this room where only his wife was in, and she was painting these children, and he knew exactly where each kid was, which would have been impossible because his actual body was on the ground. So basically it just is like proving that this was something insane. And yeah, I was listening to this last night, and it's just an incredible story. This guy had basically he basically lived in this other realm for like a second, like a little bit. He saw his life flash before his eyes in this soul form, and eventually he went into this stream of peace and love. This is how he described it. Low-key, I kind of forgot why I brought this up, to be honest, so I'm trying to figure it out again. But yeah, he basically like died. A nurse did CPR on him. He came back to life. And it was funny because when he was in that like love and peace stream, he said it was like the best feeling ever. And then he came back to reality and he was pissed. And it was so funny. But he started having these crazy urges to listen to classical music. And he never had that urge. He played piano growing up for like a year, and he did not like it at all. He listened to rock and roll, and he had an insatiable urge to listen to classical music. Eventually, he ended up having dreams about this song, and it was stuck in his head. When he tried to avoid it, the song kept playing louder and louder, and he realized he was meant to compose that music. And so basically, he trained himself, he got a teacher, he got people reach out to him, and he made that piano piece into reality from his dream. And it made huge news. This was in like the early 2000s, like 2007 or 8-ish. And he basically, he did what he was supposed to do. And now he shares that story, but I think I'm remembering what I'm trying to get to. So there were moments in his piano career that he had to do things he didn't really want to do. Like, there were so many doors that just opened up. Like, he felt like he was supposed to play this piano, and like the next day, his babysitter for his kids gave him a piano. And then he ended up finding a piano teacher. They like came to him. These people reached out to him and were like, we want to hear your story. You like were dead by lightning and now you're doing piano. That's kind of weird. We're interested in that. What's going on with your brain? And he's like, okay. And then he kept getting pushed into this direction where he was meant to play this music in front of like thousands of people on live TV. He was interviewed for magazines. He wrote chapters in books, and he didn't want to do this necessarily. Like, he was nervous. He was scared. It was hard. Imagine just being a doctor. Like, you're living like a pretty normal type of job, and then suddenly you're performing in front of thousands of people, and that's not something he's used to. And he had to understand that that's where his direction is pulling him, and he grew into it. And so my point is, to be who you're meant to be, you're supposed to face those fears and grow. He could have just been like, I'm supposed to be a doctor, but he had enough spiritual moments and enough realization to be like, okay, something else is happening here. I'm being called. He could not help himself. The music was blasting in his ears. He started playing, like listening to classical music all day. And we have the same direction inside of all of us. Like, we all have that same insatiable urge for something, but in the modern day, it's being numbed out 24/7. We're consuming so much media. We're just filling our silence with stuff. Cannot drive in silence. We need music. Can't, can't take a break in silence. Like, people don't even really, I mean, myself at times, I don't even take a nap when I'm super tired, and I'm overly tired where I'm like, I need to just scroll on something and just get my dopamine triggered. And it's easy to not face those fears. And so I challenge y'all to just be at least a little curious and be like, where am I meant to, what is something I fear that's like just legit? And it can be the smallest thing. Okay, now I remember what I finally got to work, and now I remember exactly what I was going to say. So that same dude I just talked about, he mentioned, this is his perspective. You take it however you want with your whatever beliefs you have. He said he had spiritual guides in a way, like in another realm, and they were guiding him. You can call them angels, you can call them whatever, and they are usually, when you think of something, like let's say you think of a yes or no question, they are usually the first answer. Like if you say, oh, should I go grab coffee today? And you hear a voice that says no immediately or yes immediately. The first one is like your guide, and it's like almost your gut, your instinct in another lens. And that's the one you follow. Because if you let that question linger for too long, it starts to go to your mind. Like our minds are not, they're not reliable in a way. Like they can make up stuff about you and all this crap. And so basically, when you're faced with a fear, a task you're supposed to do, when I had that feeling like I need to tell my aunt about this, and I had that feeling, and it's literally saying I need to tell my aunt about this, and my mind was like, no, like you're gonna be met with this reaction and you're gonna feel this way and it's gonna feel like painful. And that's the whole point of what I mean. This is the pain of becoming yourself. We gotta listen to that first gut instinct, that first voice, and just shut off the mind after that. You will like know. It's a knowing type of feeling. It's not something dumb like, should I jump off this cliff? Yes. Like you will know when that is a wrong feeling. And when you're in tune, that voice should just say like no, unless there's something, I don't know, you're like jumping off a cliff with a safety harness and this, and you're trying to conquer your fear of heights, and you're in a controlled scenario. Like, there's differences, but we're not trying to get into that. What I'm trying to say is, where your fear is, that is your task, and you know you're supposed to do something based on that first gut instinct. So guys, go out there and just notice any sort of fear, the smallest thing, literally the smallest thing. It can be just saying hi to somebody. It could be asking for extra ketchup, bro. Like, go ahead, ask for the extra ketchup packet. It's not that scary. It's in your head. So anyways, that's all for today. I'm gonna be posting more videos, y'all. I will be in Japan soon. If you want to subscribe and see a change of scenery instead of my boring car, hey, let's take a hike around rural Japan or Tokyo. So anyways, I will see you guys later. If you'd like to join this adventure and see where my life unfolds, if any of that resonated with you or was helpful, please feel free to subscribe if that's your vibe. And I will be out later, guys. Peace.